Hello friends, my name's the real Emile. Many cars can be accused of being for show-offs, but the W Motors Lykan HyperSport takes showing off to a whole new level. Firstly, it's expensive. Very expensive. At $3.4 million, it is the third most expensive car ever made. The reason for the cost? Well, there are a few reasons. For starters, this is the first car to have headlights with embedded jewels. They contain LED blades with 420 diamonds, although of course buyers can choose to have rubies and sapphires, among other jewels integrated into the headlights. Match this to a holographic display with interactive motion features, and seats with gold stitching, and you may think the Lykan's only purpose is to show off. And while sure this is the main point, this isn't exactly all show and no go. With a 3.7 litre twin turbocharged flat 6 engine producing 740 horsepower and 707 pounds-feet of torque, it isn't a slouch. The benchmark backs this up, with 0 to 60 being complete in 2.8 seconds and a top speed of 229 miles per hour. The Lykan certainly has hypercar stats, so what's it like through the corners? Well, I'm pleased to say the Lykan handles great. Although understeer is present, the Lykan is really forgiving when it comes to putting its power down, and it will warn you if you're pushing it too hard with some tyre smoke. Brakes are decent for the hypercar class, with the Lykan getting stopped reasonably well. Straight line speed and acceleration are obviously good, however the vehicle does slow down when hitting around 150 miles per hour. My biggest complaint however has to be the gearbox. Two issues. One is that at the lower end the ratios are a little too close, and at the higher end they are too long. I didn't even use 6th gear here on the Yas Marina, even on the straight. The second issue is that it is clunky and slow to change gear, which really hurts the acceleration and drivability of the car, which is a shame. But what if you want a hype car but don't want to show off? Well, this is the one for you. This is the Hennessey Venom GT. And while sure it looks good, it isn't over the top in your face. It actually looks like a Lotus, and that's because it kind of is. Several components are shared with the Exige, including the chassis. However, it has been lengthened to accommodate the mammoth of an engine which lurks in the middle. It's a twin turbocharged 7 litre GM-V8, which produces an ecstatic 1200 horsepower and a world destroying 1155 pounds-feet of torque. That's 460 horsepower more than in the Lykan, or in other words, the same power that is in a C7 Corvette Stingray. But the question is, can it actually put that power down? Well, if you're careful, then yes. This is certainly harder to drive than the Lykan, and while it does give you some warning if you're being a fool, it can and will catch you out, and doesn't think too much about throwing you backwards. Still, again, if you're careful on the throttle and don't get too silly, the Venom is perfectly drivable. Once you hit a straight though, the Venom really comes into its own. This car is insanely quick, being 50 mph quicker down the straight than the Lykan. The benchmark states a top speed of 267 miles per hour, and I completely believe it. As do I the stated 2.5 second sprint to 0 to 60. Just watch out when you hit the end of the straight. The brakes aren't great, mainly due to the speed, so just make sure to brake early. However, the question is, which is faster around the track, the Lykan or the Venom? Well, let's find out. Okay, here we are on the track, and the Lykan is the first to go. Now, this car is down on power compared to the Hennessey, however the Hennessey might have struggles getting that power down, so it's really going to be close between these two. First corner, do we see any issues with the Lykan? None whatsoever really. This handles sort of more like a 4-wheel drive car than it does a mid-engined rear drive car, which is what it is. Through the second corner you just see it gripping, so much grip there. As it comes out, we will be getting power down. The gearbox will probably be limiting that a bit though. Unfortunately, straight slam onto the brakes, round the hammerhead, how's it going to do? Going a little bit wide. Ooh, a little bit of slide as well from the Lykan, but not too much drama as we come out the other end. Now here we go through follow through. How much speed is it going to carry? An awful lot by the looks of it. Yeah, this really is quite a quick car. The fact that it doesn't really do much past 150 won't really matter on a track like this. It won't get much above 150. Going second to last corner, pretty decent. That's where we'd usually see understeer be a huge problem around the last corner. How's it going to do? Pretty much perfect. We move on to the Venom. Right, let's see if this actually has any issues getting the power down. Now, it was having a lot of issues through this first corner just getting the damn thing stopped. The brakes really are not good on this car when you compare it to all the speed and everything. Still, through the first corner, relatively okay, probably a bit slower than the Lykan through the corners, but of course on the straights this should be a lot quicker. Around the second corner, again, you can see it much slower than the Lykan, but still not too much in the way of drama, and now of course we can slam that power down. This thing is just so ridiculously fast. Around the hammerhead, how's it going to do? Pretty planted, actually, to be honest with you. That's good, that. And actually less drama coming out there than there was in the Lykan. Through the follow-through now, this is really going to have to slow itself down. You just can't take the amount of speed you can in the Lykan. You can see the rear tail there is getting a little bit heisty. Right, coming into the second to last corner, braking very early into here. Perhaps a little bit too early, maybe. But you do need to get this car stopped and make sure that it is fully stopped. And around the last corner, pretty perfect and across the line. The W Motors Lykan HyperSport goes into third with a 112.487, and the Hennessey Venom was slightly slower with a 112.542. We haven't had too much in the way of hypercars around here, but it is faster than the Koenigsegg Agera and the Pagani Huayra, both of which are hypercars. It is slower than the Zonda Cinque, though. However, the Cinque was a fantastic handling car, so that isn't particularly surprising. On to which of these cars I'd rather have, and I've got to say, it's got to be the Hennessey. The Lykan HyperSport has been a car which I've never really been a huge fan of. I think it's a little bit too, I don't know, it's a bit too much of a show-offs car. While as much as I think the Venom is perhaps a little bit too dull, that power and just everything about this car is insanity. But still, the Lykan really isn't a bad car. It drove a lot better than I expected it to. However, for me, I've got to go for the Hennessey. It's also worth noting that the Hennessey is 940,000 credits cheaper than the Lykan HyperSport. So the Venom is actually pretty decent value for money. But anyway, friends, that is it for today. Which of these cars would you rather have? Please tell me down below in the comments section. Anyways, until next time, farewell.